this, Bill, or are you handing the reins
Yes.
over to Mark? All right.
Yes, I'm running. We'll address that when we get to the appropriate point in the meeting.
All right. All right. All right. I do see we are recording now. I believe we've got at least 10 GC members in here now, so we'll get started. Welcome everybody. Thanks for attending. Like I said, hopefully everybody's staying warm and dry in whatever part of the country you're in. But we will call the meeting to order. Do we want to do introduction of guests first?
That would be fine for you if you like. You do it.
All right. Well, that's how you have it on the agenda here. So, well, let's do guests a little bit later on. Are there any? Let's get through some of this introductory stuff here first. So, are there any announcements or changes or adjustments to the agenda? Bill had emailed out the agenda a while back. Hopefully, everybody had a chance to take a look at it. Kind of a little bit lighter of an agenda, I guess, today, just because we want to kind of set the tone for the rest of the year. And we just met in December too. So with the holidays and everything, probably not a lot of work got done over that time. But does anybody have any announcements or changes or adjustments to the agenda? All right, seeing none. Then we will move on to roll call and also the governing committee members time. So as Bill kind of goes through the agenda, if you have anything that you'd like to bring up as a future topic or anything that you'd like to discuss with the group, now would be your time to do that. So Bill, I'll let you go through roll call.
Sure, thanks, Ed. Ed Lisinski.
I am here.
Mark Matheny.
Here.
Tom Allen. Elizabeth Arrington. Elizabeth said she would not make it today. Brian Bishop.
Brian's also the Iowa Association of Building Officials has their annual conference, so he was going to try to stick his head in here when he could, but probably was not going to be able to make most of it.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out for him. Andy Higgins.
Here.
Rachel Parrish.
Here.
Chris McWhite. Amarinda Singh.
Here.
Allison Cook.
Hi, everybody.
Paul Demers.
I'm here. Pleasure to be here.
Terry Kozlowski. Eric Miller.
Here.
Brad Wungluck.
I'm here.
Diane Carter.
Here.
I still have 10, right, Mr. Chair? I still have 10 people. We have a quorum. Let's see. Let me go through. We will address the Board of Directors at later on in the agenda. We'll do that. Staff members is myself, and I'll just take a brief minute to introduce Mark Roberts. Mark is my colleague. I see Steve Jones as well as his camera on in Eating Away. Mark Roberts is joining us now. I think he just popped his camera on. Mark is going to be coming up with. We'll talk about some changes later on in the agenda relative to the steering committee that's recently been formed and staff changes. And Mark will be coming on board as Building Membership Council staff liaison, and I'll be moving to the steering committee. At least in the foreseeable future, I'll still be around participating and helping Mark transition going forward. But we'll give Mark a chance a little bit later to chat. But for now, just wanted to grab this Mark. Wanted to capture staff people, and I have Mark, Steve, and I don't see any other staff. I don't believe online. That's what I have. Oh, did I miss somebody? Ron Peaster.
Nope.
Ron Peaster is
Yeah, I
on.
was gonna say, yeah, Ron was there, and then I think he just disappeared.
He has a way of doing that.
Oh no,
That's
he's
like
there. He's
all
there.
good, all good employees have a way of disappearing at the right time. Let's be honest.
Right.
Ron, I'll note Ron as being here, and if Ron would like to chat, certainly raise your hand, Ron. We'll give you an opportunity. But there you go. There's the role for now, and we'll capture the board of directors a little bit later.
Sounds good. Oh, and actually, I do see Terry is jumping on here now. If you want to note that in the minutes,
Oh yeah, I see him.
Terry Kozlowski. Terry, you there?
Yes, I am here.
All right, perfect. Welcome. All right. With that, we've got our roll call. We've got some of the staff identified, and thanks everybody again for being here. So we will take a look at the approval of the minutes from the December 13th meeting. Once again, as Bill always does, he does a great job of recording that, putting it out on the Building Membership Council YouTube channel. There is a hyperlink in the agenda, so if you get the agenda emailed to you, you can click on that hyperlink, go right out there to the last minutes, or the last meeting, I should say. You can watch it. You can forward it to your friends. You can do all sorts of great stuff with that, as Bill is demonstrating here. And yeah, we kind of keep those out there. He also then does a timed meeting minute, so you can jump to certain minutes or certain moments in there if you're looking for a specific agenda item. So with that, is there a motion to accept the minutes from the December 13th meeting?
So moved.
This is Amrinder, I'll second.
All right, who had the first on that?
Sorry, Allison.
All right, thanks, Allison. And Amrinder. All right. I will do this a little bit opposite. Is there anybody in opposition to approving those meeting minutes? All right, then I will consider those approved. That way we're not all unmuting and trying to talk over each other. So those meeting minutes are approved.
Ed, before we go further, I just wanted to point out, you did mention how these minutes are time-stamped
Yep.
on the recording. And, you know, I've been doing that now for, I think, a couple of years. If you recall, the charter change that we did last year, we brought on a secretary, and the secretary is Rachel Parrish, and Rachel did a nice job of doing the minutes for the December meeting, which are not posted yet, but I will get those done. But they are along the same format as we've had in the past, where you can go to the YouTube channel. Once you get to the recording, you'll be able to go to each bookmark, if you will, index, and click, and it'll bring you right to that spot in the recording. So thank you to Rachel for taking that on. I know Mark will be very happy with that, as I was this past month as you did it, but I still need to post them, but I'll make sure that gets done.
All right, thanks, Bill, and thanks, Rachel, of course, as well. All right, with that, we will open this up to the non-Building Membership Council governing committee members and guest time. So, and then, of course, you know, we'll get to Board of Directors liaison, staff liaison, stuff like that in a little bit. But if there's anybody here who is not a member of the Building Membership Council Governing Committee, who's just here watching us today, if you have anything that you'd like to discuss with the group, bring up as a future topic for one of our meetings, you know, any issues that you're having in your jurisdiction, anything that you'd like to see the Building Membership Council kind of weigh in on in the future, here's your time to kind of step up and raise your hand and be recognized, and we can turn the meeting over to you for a minute or two to hear what you're going through. I'll also say, if there's anybody that it's their first time joining us today, we'd love to you know, just have you raise your hand, and I'll recognize you, and we can you know, at least just tell us who you are, where you're from, and stuff like that, so we kind of get to know each other. So is there anybody who would like to speak up for the membership time? Oh, and I see Crystalia Miles, is that how you say that? Sorry if that's if I
No,
butchered
good
that.
afternoon. No, you just butchered my name, but it's okay. This is not my first meeting. I came to the last meeting as well. I'm with the city of Oklahoma City. I'm the assistant director of our development services. And I wanted to say, I'm glad that you let us attend these meetings because they're very helpful when I'm dealing with the construction inspectors. It keeps me abreast of upcoming changes or problems that other local government entities are having. So I'm just grateful for you letting me attend. So I'm trying to make sure I'm here on a regular basis here. Thank you.
Excellent. We love to have you, and yeah, definitely, and feel free to jump in on one of our subcommittees as well, and they have some great things that they're discussing in their subcommittee groups as well. So we'd love to put you to work if you're got the time for it a little bit. So, but thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Ron, Lynn, I saw you unmute yourself for a minute. Did you want to say hi to the group? Thanks, Ron. You're a little hard to hear, but yeah, good to see you here with with representing Global here today. So, all right. Seeing no other hands getting raised, I will assume nobody else wants to talk. So we'll move on with the agenda, and we'll move on to the different various reports. Chairman's report, real quick. Just again, I want to welcome the 6 new members to the Building Membership Council. I feel like I've welcomed them a couple times now, but just one final. Now you're officially on. Now there's no turning back. So yeah. So Allison, Paul, Terry, Brad, Eric, and Diane. I think yeah, everybody's here. So glad to see everybody here. I think I owe all of you just about a phone call of just kind of getting you. Saying hi, getting to know you guys a little bit more. So the code changes for the 2027 I codes are just wrapped up on Monday. Those were due at midnight on Monday. So now my time is a lot freer than it has been over the last month. So I'll try to get in touch with each of you guys just to learn a little bit more about you guys and learn how you're going to fit in here with the group. So look for that coming up soon. Also, obviously, I want to thank or welcome Mark Roberts as well. And yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more as to Mark's new role coming up. I guess yeah, I just kind of want to say to everybody, stay safe with the weather. There's a big band of storms that went through yesterday. I think there's another one coming up. At least here in Wisconsin, we've got another one coming up over the weekend here, and then some bitter cold. And I know East Coast is getting hit with some stuff too. So, just stay safe out there. Make sure that your staff is staying safe, and good communication out there. Safe on the roads, safe on job sites and everything. So, just wanted to put that out there. And I just kind of wanted to mention too. I'm really looking forward here to 2024. This is going to be my last year on the Building Membership Council Governing Committee. So I'm going to be terming off at the end of the year. So it's going to be, I really want to get a lot of stuff done this year so that we can really kind of put that asterisk on 2024 as they look back on the history of the BMC GC and kind of say, man, that was a great year. They really got a lot of stuff done that year, and man, we missed that devilishly good looking chairman that we had back then. So, we always want to make sure that that gets noted in the history of the BMC. But no, I just want to say, I'm really looking forward to working with everybody this year. I want it to be, one of the best years out there. So, and I think we definitely have the committee makeup this year to do that. So, really looking forward to that. So, with that, I won't even mention the joining up the subcommittees, although I did kind of a second ago. I'll leave that to Mark because that's usually mentioned in the vice chair report. So, Mark, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Ed. And relative to what you said earlier, if you guys have not seen me or heard me or been around me, I am always willing to talk. So I know that's not going to come to any surprise, but I will try to keep this brief. First of all, happy 2024. Great to be in a fresh new year. It's good to start off with a weather challenge. So, you know, sometimes things just go so easy for all of us on our day to day. It's good to have, exterior or peripheral challenges in our lives as well. A couple of things. Amarinder and Elizabeth had raised the Profile Subcommittee meeting yesterday, and it was really a lot of fun. It was just super nice to be part of that meeting. There was a lot of engagement. There was a lot of participation, and just, has heard me speak before on and on again. Just really great to see that. And a lot of good conversations came up. There was some spitballing, there were some concentrated, focused ideas, and that just gives me and everybody else who is part of that and part of our membership council just so much energy to see everybody with that kind of energy and having ideas and participating. So the engagement was super nice, and a couple of things that came up that I'm just going to hit on was measurables and achievables, right? So that kind of the theme kind of came around that, and Ed, you just touched on that, so it was perfect timing, a good lift. And we have a lot of things, we have a lot of concepts, we have some that are just inches away from completion. Amarinder's got, he gave a list of the things that are just really ready to hand off. We got some people who volunteered to even help with some of those items. My recommendation for that, Amarinder, would be to just do a direct contact to Bill hopefully before you go, and see what the final knot of that is. How do we finally tie that to a finish? And just, you said you had some questions still, and there's a couple of things like officially that needed to be worked out on what can and can't be done. But so that was good. Let's identify things that can be achievable, right? So what can we certainly, how do we measure things that we are doing, but what's achievable, and let's stay within that realm. And I don't know if Chris McWhite has popped on yet, but I know he's had these same conversations. When I handed all that to him, I had just oodles and gobs of spreadsheets and ideas and concepts, and he wanted to whittle that down into a more focusable, I don't know, is that even a word? Anyway, into a more focused idea of what we can achieve within a period of time, and let's keep concentrating on that. Another thing that I like that seems almost to the outside of that very concept is future ideas, and Elizabeth brought that up, and if we have some future ideas, but maybe they're not achievable this year, let's go ahead and document those, right? Let's get them somewhere on a list within our entity, and let's be able to take a look at those. So as we get closer to the 2/3 of the way into the year, and we want to think about what we can achieve, maybe at the end of the year, maybe the following year, maybe we can pick up on those little pieces that we've already had kind of a working list on. So just once again, just I love the engagement and the participation and the amount of volunteers we had even just yesterday with that meeting about moving forward and helping people out. So welcome everybody, welcome to 2024, and let's, as Ed said, let's just make this a fantastic year. So thanks so much.
Yep. Thanks, Mark. And yeah, I wasn't able to make it, but yeah, it sounded like a great race profile meeting yesterday, and I can't wait to get that report when we come up to that. So, all right, with that, we will turn this over to the Board of Director Liaison, and Ron Hampton. Glad to have Ron back again for 2024. He's a great advocate for the BMC and membership councils in general, and obviously coming from the membership council, the BMC here, we love to have you representing us and liaisoning to us once again, Ron. So I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Ed. Great to be back. this is where I started. I hope we'll finish up here. So to complement Mark's comments on the Raise the Profile subcommittee meeting yesterday, Andre and I were both listening in on that. Great ideas. I think Arminder and the subcommittee there is going to do some great work. So you all get the GR report. We know that we've got the Leadership Academy coming up April 5th through the 7th in Orlando. Will be followed by the code hearings. We hope everybody can get there because we're going to have some in-person building membership council meetings there. Also, Building Safety Month. It'll be here before you know it. We've already put out the draft of the Building Safety Month proclamation. I'd encourage everybody to reach out to their local and state governments and let's get those proclamations submitted and try and give Kentucky a little competition, guys. I mean, you know, since 2013, we just wipe you all out. Somebody's got to come close to us sooner or later. We've got some big goals this year. We're looking at over 100, which is what we had last year. So we did have the board meeting in December. It was our budget meeting. That went very well. And we've got a few other directors on the call. It's always a pleasure to be here, but I'll relent the rest of my time to them. Thank you all.
Excellent. Thanks, Ron. And yeah, and that is, before we get to the other directors, you know, the Leadership Academy in Orlando, followed by the code change hearings. You know, if you've never been to those code change hearings, definitely try to fit that into your schedule or into your budget. If you can't do it this year, you got Group B coming up next year. When I started attending those, that's by far the best code education that you can get is sitting there debating code back and forth and just listening in on people debating codes back and forth. And there are some scholarships available out there to people. Allison, you want to piggyback on that? Is it?
Oh, I just had a quick question while we have
okay.
at least 3 directors here and Ron Peaster, so I can put a bunch of people on the spot. You mentioned scholarships. Code of Honor is the way I started participating and going to code hearings. I think a couple of other of like my cohorts is the same. I don't know, because Code of Honor has typically been just for the public comment, which is now moving to once every 3 years. I don't know if there's plans to move Code of Honor to expand that, because I do think the code action hearings are going to become a lot more, I don't want to say important. They've always been important, but it's a lot more public engagement when we just have now the 1 year public comment. So I don't know if there intends to be more scholarships of that nature so more people can participate, because you're right. It's a fantastic way to learn things.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I don't know if any of the directors have any thoughts or comments on that, if there's anything in the works, but otherwise I can also see if directors Hyen or McDaniel have any other thoughts or comments, or Bredmore as well. I think, yeah, I saw Ben on here as well. So between the 3 of you, anybody want to address Allison's comments? Otherwise, come up with anything else that you guys wanted to chat about. Ben, I see you're off of mute. Go
Obviously,
ahead.
I'll jump in real quick. I appreciate Allison's comment. Obviously, with the new code hearing process, as directors Hyen and Hampton, especially Director McDaniels, who proposed many of the changes, it's obviously going to be an evolution as we move forward. That's certainly something we can look at in the future to make sure the opportunity is available to the greatest practical extent, because we all had an opportunity to get there on with some assistance our first time, I think, and Code of Honors has always been an important one. So we'll certainly consider that as we move forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
Other directors, Hyen or McDaniel? Steve, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, sure. No, I again, so the scholarships is not something that's written in policy. So I concur with Ben. It's something we can definitely look into, and Allison, that's great, and I appreciate you bringing that up. it may not be something that we had truly thought of during the time of changing to 2 committee action hearings. But again, I would agree that it's a great way to get people involved. So if it's something we have to entertain as a discussion as a board, or if it's something that staff can just take on their own, I think it's an excellent that you brought it up. I don't have any additional comments. Ron always does a fantastic job with a liaison report, but we'll definitely be here if there's any other questions.
Excellent. Thanks, sir. Andre?
Hello, everyone. Good to see you all after the new year, and hope everyone enjoyed their holidays. I'd echo the same sentiments from other directors. Ron always does a phenomenal job keeping you guys abreast with what's going on. I would let you know, if you haven't seen it already, there is the kudos board for the 30-year anniversary for ICC. We've seen chapters posting to that and a bunch of other agencies. So if you haven't seen that, it's definitely a link that we can drop in the chat, or make sure it gets over to you if you'd like to, represent your organization and, post to that and kind of share your story of what ICC has meant to you over those past 30 years. So obviously this is a really cool, really big year, for the legacy organization and all that it's meant to folks. And yeah, in broad strokes, I certainly agree. I would also echo the value of scholarships. My first time at an ICC conference was due to a Code of Honor scholarship. So absolutely, I think it's something to really bear in mind and look for opportunities to share those with new folks that want to get involved in the code development process.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. I think, all right. I thought Steve Jones had dropped the link to that in the chat, but he's just talking about ICC history. Oh, there it goes. Ron Peaster just dropped that.
That's a great video. If you haven't had a chance to review it yet, that gives a 30-year history.
Excellent. Thanks, Steve. And yes, and Ron Peaster did just drop the kudo board into the chat as well. So if anybody's interested in those, that is in there. All right, we'll jump over to the staff liaison report. Bill?
Sure, thank you, Ed. So I'll do a brief report here and then maybe transition right into the continuity and outreach report relative to the changes with Ron and Mark on the call. But as I do every month, I put the link right into the agenda for the month, for the meeting, and I'll click on it. It's very simple. So I'll say at this point, folks, as I say at every meeting, I know I say it at every meeting, but this is a great resource for you all. So if anybody out here is not getting it, please reach out to your GR rep. If you don't know who your GR rep is, then email myself or put it into the chat, and we will be glad to connect you with that person. Or frankly, I'll be glad to share it with you. But one way or another, you need to find a way to get this monthly update to come into your inbox automatically, because it does contain an awful lot of good information. As Ron typically does, he steals my thunder and talks on the high points of each topic in here, but that's okay, Ron. I'm glad to just kind of, I won't bore you all with the other items that are in here, but certainly I want to point out, you all hear of GR. I know you hear an awful lot about grants, BRIC funding, the Codes Plus Up program, the DOE grants. I know there's an awful lot of activity out there, and folks, there's a lot of money out there. So I'll just impress upon you again to seek out these opportunities for your jurisdiction, your state, code adoptions and whatnot. There is, as it's pointed out right here in the update, a January 17th webinar. It is not an ICC webinar, it's a DOE webinar. But please consider getting onto that if you have code adoptions coming up, code updates. And, I guess I'm not going to apologize, maybe wink, wink, that we keep hounding you about this, but really the reason we do this is because the opportunities are just too great to pass up. There is money out there, particularly with the BRIC funding, the BRIC Codes Plus Up program, with $2 million allocated directly to each state. It's formula funding, it's directly for that state, and it is used for code administration, code adoption, code updates. So please, I'll just leave it at that and hope that you can latch on to it and connect with somebody on it. But yeah, so anyway, here is our link, of course, and you certainly can download it. And all of these links are hyperlinked with a lot of different further information that's important to you. Let's see, of course, I touched on the brick funding. We touched on the Building Safety Month, the Leadership Academy coming up in Orlando. I will go out on a limb a little bit here and say it will not be a similar experience to what we had in Tampa last year. Although Tampa was wonderful, the city was wonderful. Some of the experiences away from the conference weren't so wonderful, but I will apologize for that again and make a promise that it won't happen again. I don't think I'm going too far on a limb saying that, but we do have some good activities planned for the evening. I don't think it'll be too much of a stretch to suggest that you need to get there and be there not only for the Leadership Week, the Leadership Academy. For those of you that may not have attended, it's a tremendous academy. Opportunity for leaders to get some more information on ICC. Then, of course, our membership council meetings, which we'll have more information on coming forward soon. And then, of course, the code hearings, which are important to attend and get to as well. And then, yeah, so I'll just, last thing before I go into the next, agenda item, I'll say is, yeah, I just lost my train of thought there. What was that on? Apologize, folks. Oh, yes,
and this
we
is
all
why
know-
we're bringing Mark in, because we're just
all right. Indeed, I'm scatterbrained today. Yes, code books, right? Of course, codes are out there. They're out there, except we know for the IRC and the Energy Code, and I believe the Green Construction Code. And I won't get into the Energy Code, but the appeals have, I believe, will be heard soon in a timely manner, as I understand have been reported out. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. And when ultimately the code will be published, so we can jump into getting the IRC out to you all and the Energy Code, of course. There are a couple people on this call that are a lot closer to that process than I am, for good reason. So if you have questions on that, please feel free to reach out to them in the chat. I'm sure they can do it, and maybe they'll even update us at some point in this call. So, any questions on the GR report, how to access it? Any questions on it? No? Okay. Ben Breadmore.
Oh, yep.
Mr. Breadmore.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that for those that aren't getting the GR report, you certainly should. I often get 5, and I often take bets on which GR representative will send it to me first. You guys are nothing for nothing. Most of you are slacking. Dottie's usually first. And one thing that wasn't in the GR report, but I would certainly check the Building Safety Journal in not too distant future. Director Hampton brought up our board meeting this December. That was actually held in the country of Belize. We met with the Belize Ministry. They are looking at adopting a national building code, and of course, they are looking at ours. So we believe we have some very good inroads there for both the IRC and the IBC as a good foundation for future development. So just wanted to share that with folks and look forward to seeing that in the future Building Safety Journal.
Dottie may be first with the getting the GR report out, but I think I'll be first to suggest I need to be the GR rep for Belize. Okay.
All right.
Other questions?
Bill, did you want to talk any more about the transition with you and Mark? Is this?
Yeah.
Or do you want to do that down in the CNO committee?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So yeah, we just transition into the next item, the subcommittee reports on the continuity and outreach. So officially at this point, the continuity and outreach has, I guess, ceased to exist. And as the agenda item indicates, we are transitioning it into the Membership Council Steering Committee, of which I am the staff liaison, and Mark Roberts will be assuming the role of the Building Membership Council liaison. And as I said earlier, I will help him transition into this and work with him at least on the next several meetings to get him up to speed on all of the activities that are happening within the Building Membership Council. So before I'd like to have Ron maybe speak for a second, but let's give Mark a chance, if Mark is still with us, to maybe just chime in and say hello. I think many of you probably know Mark, but we'll see.
Well, thank you all. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here today. There's a lot of faces here I don't know, Bill. Quite a few folks. There's a few old timers I see, but there's quite a few I don't. For those of you who don't know, I actually worked with the BMC years ago. Bill, how long has it been? Like 5 years ago?
Been six. This is our 6th year that I've done this.
So it was 5 years ago. Yeah. So anyway, it's an honor to serve y'all again going forward in the future. And I think Bill's done a great job working with y'all, and I think it's going to be an easy transition. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
I'd just like to say, just to welcome Mark back again. And yeah, he was here when I first started out on some of the subcommittees and everything. Actually, I was around with Vaughn Wicker originally, and then Vaughn retired. Mark took over, did a great job with it. We've had 6 dark years under Bill, but glad
Ouch.
to finally pull ourselves back out into the light. So, but yeah, just welcome. Glad to have you back. So, all right, go ahead, Bill. Whatever the heck you were gonna talk about.
No, I'm glad. So yeah, just
Keep
thanks again, and Mark, thanks. So yeah, the continuity and outreach, as I said, is transitioned to this steering committee as identified in ICC Council Policy number 9 has been redone, and it is posted. Actually, that hyperlink on the agenda will bring you right to the webpage on the ICC website to see it. And Ron Pister, as you all know, Ron as our VP of Membership Services, and probably several other titles that I'm forgetting. Ron is the administrator for this, and I'll work closely with him, with the membership councils and the steering committee to try to make sure we comply with Council Policy 9, which I think came through a lot of work as done by the Charter Review Committee with Allison and her group last year, and here we are. So Ron, anything to share on this? I know we're trying to corral an early meeting coming up soon, but is there anything that, Ron, you'd like to chime in on?
Thanks, Bill. Good afternoon, everyone. Bill, you've covered it very nicely. As he mentioned, we're looking to have our first organizational meeting of the steering committee in the near future, and Bill, as the staff liaison to the steering committee, will be sending out a notice to the steering committee members probably within a week or so to organize that meeting. But the only thing that I would like to say on behalf of the Code Council is thank you to all of you on the Building Membership Council, in particular those who served on the Continuity and Outreach Subcommittee reviewing the membership council charters, for the great work that you did that really served as the foundation for the new Council Policy 9 that now governs our membership councils. All of you, all of the governing committees really stepped up, did a tremendous amount of work in a relatively short period of time, and also showed patience and grace as we as we race to the finish line to get this policy completed. And I think when you read through the final language, that there were some refinements, some good refinements that were implemented by the board when they reviewed the policy in December. I think we have a sound, effective policy to serve this council as well as our other councils, including the Major Jurisdiction Council. We now have 7 councils, as I think many of you know. So if you have questions about the provisions of the policy, or there's anything that we can do to clarify any of these issues for you, please don't hesitate to reach out to your staff liaison or to me, and we'll help to provide that information and clarification. So that's all I wanted to say. I appreciate the opportunity to address you today.
And thanks, Ron. I just would add, much of the changes, the good changes to the policy will give the membership councils the ability to engage better with our membership, and that's the idea, folks. Here is to enhance the engagement that we have between our membership councils, the board of directors, and our membership. So I think you'll find a lot of the administrative, maybe the minutia, if you will, of years past is now given pretty much to the steering committee to do the reporting. You'll still need to do minutes and agendas and quorums, but generally there are no charters. If you choose to have a charter, you could have a charter, but this is about getting some action. And I think Director Hyen said it earlier, affecting engagement. And yeah, it was, what was it, Andre, that stuck out in my mind that made it was, yeah.
Didn't stick out that much, Bill.
Right. Right.
I was just saying, I love listening to you quote me, man. So, take your time with it. But no, I certainly support the work that I was able to participate in. And, I really do think Director Hampton made a really good point about what we listened to yesterday from the RTP subcommittee that I think dovetails really well with the work that was published by the Continuity and Outreach subcommittee and subsequently by the board. So I think there's a really good place there where I think everybody's working in concert. So.
Very well. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I'm excited to see the continuity and outreach transition and work with the rest of the councils. And I think a lot of good will come of it. So that's all I have there. If there are any other questions, we can certainly entertain that.
And Bill, we're going to have 2 representatives on the steering committee then, correct?
There will be. We're just starting that now, notifying each of the membership councils of the need to supply, if you will, the 2 representatives. It does not have to be the chair and the vice chair. The default people will be the chair and the vice chair at this point until we hear officially from each council that there are 2 people appointed to the steering committee. And the important part of this, one of the things that came out through the discussions, is each council will get 1 vote within the steering committee. So that will cut down in a little bit of maybe the bureaucracy, if you will, or the administrative stuff, but we'll hopefully dial into more decision making and reporting out and good stuff like that. But yes.
Yep. And just so everybody on the BMC GC is aware, our representatives then. It's going to be myself and then Allison Cook. We're going to be the two representatives to that steering committee once that gets established. So, all right. Anybody with any questions on that though? I do want to obviously recognize, Chris Young created the continuity and outreach subcommittee back 5-6 years ago or so, I think. So Chris was our past chair. He actually stepped down as chair his last year so that he could sort of create and form this continuity and outreach committee. So I just want to give a shout out to Chris. From there, then I think I took over as chair after that, and then James Williamette, and then we kind of did the co-chair with James Williamette and Tim Deal from Fire Service, and then Andre took over Jim's spot this past year. So thanks to all the chairs and co-chairs and liaisons and everything to the continuity and outreach through the years. It's really been a great progression of that group into what it's become now. So, all right. Any other questions, thoughts, comments on the continuity and outreach? Obviously more to come in future meetings, but if anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to throw your hand up. seeing no virtual hands raised, we will move on. One quick addendum back to my chairman report. One thing I did want to mention that I forgot to mention, we've had representatives from the BCAC on here in the past. I just wanted to let everybody know that the BCAC Group B committees are starting to form right now, and the subcommittees for that. You don't have to be a member of the BCAC to join those. So if you are interested in any of the Group B code subjects, I guess, they are forming those right now. Their initial meetings are somewhere between. We're going to have one, I think, today, but it got canceled. But between the next couple weeks here and through the beginning of March, all the BCAC subcommittees for Group B are going to be meeting. So just wanted to throw that out there. You can reach out to Kim Parlberg or Samar Haas if you have any interest in helping those out. You don't even have to be a member of the subcommittee. You can actually just register yourself as a interested party, and you'll get the agendas and the meeting requests and everything, and you can attend, kind of get your voice out there, and see what BCAC's working on for the 2027 Group B code changes. So sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier. All right, moving on. We will jump to the Raise the Profile Subcommittee, and Elizabeth couldn't be here today, one of the co-chairs, but Amrinder is here, and they had a great meeting yesterday, so I'll turn it over to Amrinder.
Thank you, Ed. So Mark already touched on a lot of the items. So to keep it brief, we had our first meeting for 2024. It was a great meeting, and we have a lot of things already completed, and we will be reaching out to Mr. Nash and Mr. Roberts now to kind of get all of the approvals that we need, hopefully prior to this next meeting in March. That way, after the March meeting, we can announce to the membership how people can, submit their proclamation request to recognize their building department, or to obtain a recognition letter for a colleague for retirement, or a certification that they recently achieved, or an ordinance that the municipality recently adopted. So we have a lot of great things planned, and we appreciate everybody stepping up to the plate and who are going to assist us with all of these great efforts. And as soon as we have some more information, we'll hopefully work behind the scenes, and we'll have more stuff ready, hopefully, Ed, in March, to actually execute all of these documents to our membership.
Excellent, excellent. Yep, looking forward to that. I know some of that stuff's been just about ready to go for a while now. So yeah, it'll be great to get some of that stuff implemented. So thanks for your work on that. All right, Best Practices and Innovation Subcommittee, Chris McWhite. I don't believe, let me check the agenda again here. Yeah, don't believe Chris is here, but
I texted him earlier. He just responded. He said he's going to join. I'm not sure when, but he said he is going to hop on in the way here.
All right. Well, we can wait for him unless you had anything to, probably not much to update yet.
I'm waiting for Chris.
All right. Again, just so, and I should have mentioned this at the start of Raise the Profile as well. For 2024, Raise the Profile, Amrinder and Elizabeth, they're going to stay on as co-chairs for that. Best Practices Innovation, Chris McWhite is going to stay on as one co-chair, and I think I mentioned it last meeting, but Paul Demers is willing to step up, take the other co-chair position on the Best Practices and Innovation Subcommittee. So thanks, Paul, for that. And if Chris does jump back on here, we'll jump back over and see if he has any report on that. So Allison, go ahead.
I apologize, Amrinder. I'm not sure if you already covered this, but I do think Elizabeth was asking for volunteers for profiles for Building Safety Month, or if folks wanted to work on that. To the point Ron made earlier about it'll be here before we know. I know Elizabeth is on top of that, so I don't know if you wanted to say anything more about that, or just broadly message Elizabeth if you're interested in volunteering to help out.
Thank you for sharing that, Allison. I should have mentioned that, and I was trying to read my chicken scratch from yesterday, and none of it makes sense, so I apologize. But yes, please do reach out to Elizabeth. She has great initiatives, great items she's working on. And as Allison said, if you reach out to her, she will respond right away, and make sure you're a part of those great things. And thank you for that.
Yeah, and that goes for either of our subcommittees. To anybody that's on the call here. We mention it every time. This is where most of us started off is just volunteering on a subcommittee. So, raise the profile. It gets into the value of the code official, the value of what we do every day, how to showcase that, and then also how to increase participation and just general knowledge of who we are and what we do. So that's the Raise the Profile Subcommittee. Best Practices Innovation is taking all those best things that everybody's doing across the country. The best practices, the innovative new things that people are doing, puts those all together into a couple different documents. If anybody's on the call here and is interested in helping out on those, it's not a huge commitment, but we'd love to have you. So feel free to reach out to the chairs of those committees. You can also reach out to myself or Bill or Mark, and we can get you in touch with those people as well. We do also have a call for subcommittees that's on the BMC GC website on the ICC webpage, where you can sign up at any time, and we'll get notified of your interest of that. So, feel free to, even if you're not interested, maybe somebody back in your office or at your chapter, who's a young up and coming code official who's got a lot of energy and a lot of great ideas, or maybe they're the more seasoned, grizzled inspector who has a lot of life experience, and you think that they would be great for that. Feel free to share that information with them, and we'd love to get some more people on those subcommittees. So, all right, I will get down off my soapbox on that. Moving on to membership council liaison reports. One thing I want to cover real quick is our 2024 liaisons. So before we get into the actual liaison reports, I know a lot of you may not have much of a report right now, because I'm just telling you right now that you're our new liaison to these committees. So what the liaisons to the subcommittees do are attend those other meetings if you can, or at least get updates on what those other membership councils are working on, report that back to us. And then also vice versa, when you're at those meetings, you can let them know what we're working on over here as well. So with that, the liaisons for 2024, what I'd like to have for liaisons here, Allison Cook will take over as Emerging Leaders Membership Council liaison. Tom Allen's going to do Fire Service once again. Andy Higgins is going to move over to the Major Jurisdictions Membership Council. Brian Bishop, who's not here, is going to stay on sustainability for next year. Eric Miller has agreed to jump over to the PMG Membership Council. So thanks, Eric, for that. And then that just leaves global. I'd like to put Terry Kozlowski on that. Terry, I sent you a message earlier today, and I know it was kind of last second. So if you didn't see that, if you're willing to do global, I'd love to have you there. I think I think you've got some support in Vegas there, or Clark County, I should say, between Ron Lynn and Sam Palmer as well, who can really help you out on kind of learning the ropes of the global membership council. But Terry, is that all right with you?
That would be fine.
All right, thank you. And then that leaves Brad and Diane without a liaison. I mentioned at the last meeting, that I would like to get some other liaisons out there, some other liaisonships out there, I guess, to Permatech Nation and Wicked, and maybe some of these other groups. So I'll kind of leave that up to Brad and Diane. Maybe we can come up with another liaisonship for you two that we can work on, or AIA might be another good one as well. But if not, we'd love to see you two on some of those subcommittees and kind of helping out there as well. So, but I'll talk to both of you in the coming weeks on that. So with that, all right, that's sort of, and I'll shoot this off in an email to everybody on the GC, so we all have that as well. With that, let's jump over to the actual liaison reports. And I know we do have some people from some of the other membership councils on with us today, so maybe they can help us out, fill in some blanks if we don't have our liaison here to help out. So with that, merging leaders. Allison, any update? Otherwise, I also see Greg Gilbert and a few others on here as well.
I do see Greg and some others. I know Greg is the new vice chair. Congratulations, Greg. So if you want to take it over and chat, I feel like I've talked more than enough today and I'm tired of hearing me. So I know you guys are working on some great stuff with Building Safety Month and Vote for Your Codes.
Thank you very much. Honestly, there hasn't been a lot of movement. I know, like Allison just said, we are working on some things with for Building Safety Month and Vote for Your Codes, but unfortunately, not a lot has moved in that direction. We're all kind of getting settled at this point. I did want to mention, though, that I do believe Chair Kevin Gore is planning on extending a challenge to all of the other membership councils as far as recruitment to get at least one new person. And, obviously the challenge will probably extend to whoever gets the most recruitment. But as for right now, not a whole lot new has been done, unfortunately.
And congrats, Greg. And yeah, I'm assuming that a lot of the membership councils are going to be in that same position here, where probably not a lot of stuff got done in the last month, especially with the holidays and everything. But
right,
glad to have you here, and congrats on being the new vice chair.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to Fire Service Membership Council. Tom Allen's not here, and neither is Tim Deal. Is anybody here with the Fire Service Membership Council, or does anybody attend those meetings that knows what they've been up to? I know they're working a lot with with the lithium-ion batteries, obviously, and that ad hoc committee that ICC put together. But I'm not sure of anything else that they're doing right now. Seeing no virtual hands raised, so I will assume we have no Fire Service Membership Council report then for this month. All right, we'll move on to global. And yeah, like I said, Terry, if you can take that over moving forward, we'll talk more about what that all entails. I know Ron Lynn was on earlier. I don't see him here anymore, though. I don't believe so. Does anybody here know anything about what global's been up to?
I haven't seen a meeting request come through in the last quarter, so I'm actually not aware of what's going on there right now. Sorry.
And yeah, thanks, Andy. Yeah, I suppose, yeah, you were there with global, so yeah. All right, we'll move on to major jurisdictions then. Andy, same thing, probably no real update from that yet, but anybody else from major jurisdictions?
I don't think Sam Steele is here, but I believe he's moving into the chair role for major jurisdictions. And he and I, both being in Seattle, communicate all the time. So I haven't heard anything in particular, though, of updates recently from him.
All right. Thanks for that. All right, PMG. Anybody have any clue what's going on over at PMG?
I will say,
Allison.
and I put this in the chat, Richard reached out to me about, hey, who's your contact? Or I'm sorry, Gary did, not Richard, about who's our contact. So I'll be putting him in touch with Eric. Excellent. They are having a meeting on January 23rd.
All right. Thank you for that. All right, we will move on. we'll move on then to sustainability. Like I said, Brian Bishop couldn't make it here today. I don't see. Is there anybody here from sustainability? I don't see Allison or anybody. All right, so Allison Lindbergh, I meant not Cook, but the other Allison. All right, I see nothing then for sustainability. So we will, again, you know, like I said, I was assuming we weren't going to have much for updates from any of those other groups right now, just because, you know, everybody was kind of off for the holidays, I think. So, but again, yeah, if anybody has any, if you are a liaison, you know, try to reach out to those other membership councils, get onto their email lists, and attend those other meetings. So. Moving on to 2024 goals. You know, I kind of touched on this last meeting, asking people to, you know, come here today with some goals, especially out of the subcommittees. I know some of those subcommittees are still working on that, and maybe haven't met since the December meeting. But you know, if anybody does have any goals, if you have thought about some, again, you know, we'd like them to be, you know, something that's measurable, achievable. And something that we can accomplish this year. And actually, I think Mark, you know, brought up some great points earlier from the meeting yesterday as well. That, you know, it isn't always just a, you know, what can we do in 2024? Maybe we do have some long range goals as well. You know, some 3-year, some 5-year goals for the group. You know, especially some of the people who are just coming on now. You guys have 6 years here on the building membership council if you want it. You know, you've got you know, where do you want to see this group in 6 years when you're terming off? So it's not just, you know, the 2024 goals, it's the goals for BMC in general. And yep, thanks, Ron. I do see is Chris, yeah, Chris McWhite's in here. We'll jump back to BPI update in a little bit, Chris. I'll give you a minute to kind of get in here and catch your breath here. But does anybody have any 2024 goals, or even just long-term goals that they'd like to bring up to the group? And I think a couple just to kind of get things started. Like I said, for 2024, I would like to set up some liaisonships with some other groups that we want to reach out to. So that was one that I had. Also with raise the profile, I do want to get those some of those recognition letters out that Amrinder's been putting together for a while. So I think that's something that we definitely want to move forward this year. I think we want to get maybe a little bit more involved with the Vote for Your Codes program that ELMC has been working on the last few years. So those were 3 for sure that I wanted to work on this year. But if anybody else has any, I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas on goals. All right.
So I do want to mention Chris has joined the meeting, and I know we want to update it from him, but I think I'll parrot what Elizabeth said in our meeting yesterday. I think there's something great about having only like 2-3 solid goals and getting them done versus like 5 or 6 goals. So, and I know you and Mark had said that in the last meeting. So I don't know. I just want to echo or support that notion that I think that seems like a great thing this year.
And Ed, if I could, you know, the idea of the steering committee is to do the reporting part of this, right? So, you know, we'll be looking at each of the membership councils to, you know, identify their goals, identify their deliverables, if you will, and that's what we'll report on up to the board of directors and beyond. Hopefully have a web page where we can demonstrate the value of the membership councils. Having that, having those realistic and deliverables that are realistic and attainable. You know, sometimes we shoot for the moon, and that's all wonderful, but you know, we want to get goals, and I think yesterday's call was a good example of picking a couple that were that are going to be attainable, and we'll probably knock them out of the park. And those are good things to demonstrate. the steering committee will catalog that, hopefully in the platform that we have been using Monday, that from the continuity and outreach, and that will be a good reporting tool for us to get to not just the board of directors, but beyond, on the website and beyond. So finding those good goals, those good attainable goals from each subcommittee, and then ultimately from the building membership council itself is going to be key. So the sooner we can identify them, I think the better, and we can get them posted, if you will. So good stuff.
Yep. I agree. And so, yeah, and along those and I know, I think Ron Hampton dropped into the chat there, increasing membership and participation as well. So, I think we can kind of put some of these together. Maybe we'll get some goals from the different subcommittees where maybe they have one or two each. So that's maybe 3 or 4 right there, and then the BMC in general has 1 or 2, and just so we kind of have that direction. But again, I also want to make sure people are forward looking beyond just 2024. So we'll pick this up again in the March meeting, and we can talk about it more then, and hopefully we'll have some suggestions from those subcommittees at that point. So. All right, with Chris McWhite being here, let's circle back to the Best Practices and Innovation Subcommittee. And Chris, any updates from you there? And
you don't want to hear from me. I'm boring.
No, I have never met a man in a bow tie who is boring. So.
Oh my God! Yeah. So it's been a little bit interesting around here with multiple people ill and sick and everything else. So if anybody within this group is of a mind and of a persuasion to offer warm fuzzies or prayers or anything in between, those are welcome. In particular for our staff, for my staff here. There's people here who are under varying levels of stress, and I would really appreciate any thoughts you could offer that way. I did have a chance to connect with Mr. Paul Demers. He's offered to some suggestions that we might be able to implement into the subcommittee for our best practices. And I think the best evidence of whether there is any real interest in a initiative is the response you get. And what I've received up until last December's meeting was tepid. People were excited about some of the things we're talking about, but either it was just a lack of ability to offer time or what have you. So you don't want to keep pretending like you're Sisyphus, let him push that rock up the hill. So I would like to thank Paul for his suggestion, and maybe we can put our heads together and to see if the thoughts that we had going into this year and the thoughts that he offered up last month are things that we could look towards tying into in the future. And there is a timeline for the suggestions that we'll be kicking around as well. It's a tight timeline, so you use the word deliverable. That will be easy to see because it'll be pretty quick, So with any luck, we'll be able to put something together and present it to the group. And what I would like for us to put out there for people's digestion is something that is easy to implement and doesn't require a lot of extra effort because none of us has a lot of free time, last I checked.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Chris, for that. And yeah, and I think that's really one of the key components to the best practices and innovation is, nobody's got time, nobody's got anything to do this stuff. So when we do hear about these great programs, these innovative practices that people are doing across the country, let's find a way to get that information out there so that, people can, they don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can, steal and borrow from each other to save themselves some time. So yeah.
And I do want to apologize. There were, as I said, there were others who responded, and they did offer suggestions as well earlier in the year. There just hasn't been a lot of time to circle back on my own personal end, and some of those people are on the call today. So I don't want anybody to think that I forgot about you. It's just been, it's been a hot mess in here for a while. So, but we're on the right track now. And the contacts I did get in the past, I will be reaching out in the weeks and months ahead to see what we can pull together now that we've on this side of the holiday season.
Yep. And don't be afraid to use your co-chair as well. You know, he's got nothing to do up there in Maine. He's got a bed in his office, for God's sakes. You know, I mean, he's taking a nap as soon as we're done here. So, all right. Thanks, Chris, for that. All right. Moving on to number 8 on the agenda, even though Bill doesn't have it on here on the screen anymore, but that's really our closing thoughts. So, does anybody have anything else that they would like to bring up to the group before we close here? You know, I think we got a lot of great information, a lot of great direction. You know, look forward to, again, you know, just looking forward to 2024. I think we're going to have a great year. I think we definitely have the governing council. Nothing against past governing councils, but I really think that this one's going to have a lot of energy and get a lot of stuff done here. So, all right, seeing no virtual hands raised for anything. I can't let everybody go 15 minutes early. We've never gone out of here early ever in the history of the BMC GC. I don't.
Turning over a new leaf in a new year there, Ed.
Yeah, you know, it's usually what we get those liaison memberships, or the liaison reports of, you know, you have 30 seconds. So
what a great chairman. What a great chair.
Oh no, because it's it's the same old chair. I've been doing this three years now. So.
Mark's the vice chair. Ed's the chair. I know it's hard to keep him straight.
Right. Yep. He'll have his shot. Don't worry. But all right. Seeing no other virtual hands being raised. The next meeting is going to be March 13th. Same time, same bad time, same bad channel. Hopefully Bill won't be running it though. We'll get somebody more competent like Mark in here to be handling this for us, and that'll really pick up.
Hey.
And all right, with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And I'll take somebody as a second in there too. So, all right, we are all in favor. Yeah, everybody's good. We are adjourned. Thanks everybody for sticking around here for only an hour and 15 minutes this time. And
keep pushing it. Keep pushing.
Yep. Stay safe, stay warm, and thanks for everything that you guys are doing out there. I appreciate you all. Thanks.
Stay hydrated.
Happy New Year, all.
Thank you.
Take care. Enjoy the day.
Thank you. Great meeting.